Do not leave this moment. I am reaching for you with everything I have because what is forming around your life cannot wait for more convenient hour. There is no convenient hour for what I must say. You are standing at the edge of something you cannot yet see, and I refuse to let you step forward without hearing me first. This is not a casual word thrown into the wind. This is a deliberate intervention designed to pull you back from the very thing that was designed to pull you under. I need you to understand the weight of what is happening right now. Something has been quietly assembling itself in the background of your days, threading through your routines, weaving into your conversations, settling into the gaps between your prayers. It carries no announcement. It wears no warning label. But it has mass, and if you walk into it unprepared, it will cost you more than you can afford to lose. That is why I'm here, not tomorrow. Not after the damage settles into your bones. Right now. While there is still distance between you and the edge, stay where you are. Plant your feet in this moment and do not move until every word I speak has finished its work inside you. Because what I am about to lay before you is not general wisdom scattered across a crowd. This is precise. This is personal. This is the kind of word that heaven only releases when the hour demands it. And your hour is demanding it today. You have felt something stirring beneath the surface of your ordinary days. A pull. A whisper of unease that brushes across your spirit when the house goes quiet and the distractions fall away. You tried to name it. You tried to dismiss it. You told yourself it was just fatigue or stress, or the weight of carrying more than your share. But that feeling was not born from exhaustion. I put it there. It is my early warning system planted deep inside your awareness, and it has been sounding for days now because something is approaching that requires your full attention. I know what you have already survived. I was there for every chapter of it. The nights when your pillow held more tears than your words could carry. The mornings when you stood up not because you felt strong, but because falling apart was not an option anyone would understand. The seasons when everything you had built seemed to dissolve right through your fingers, and nobody around you noticed the collapse happening in real time. I saw every moment of it. I heard every whispered prayer that barely made it past your teeth. And I did not look away. Not once. You carried yourself through corridors of uncertainty that would have buckled others who claimed twice your strength. There were hours when silence was your only companion, and you wondered whether your cries were reaching anything beyond the ceiling above your bed. They reached me. Every single one. And now I am returning to you, not with empty sympathy, but with instructions. Because what is ahead of you requires more than resilience. It requires readiness. So hear me carefully. If you value the peace you have fought to maintain, if you care about the people whose names you carry in your prayers every night, if there is any part of you that refuses to be blindsided again by something you could have avoided, then this message is your shield and you must not set it down. Right now, in this very breath, pathways are forming in front of you. Some of them shimmer with the appearance of progress and relief. They whisper promises of ease and resolution. But not every road that looks inviting will carry you to where I need you to be. There is a direction you have been considering, a choice that has been circling your thoughts with increasing frequency. And on the surface, it appears completely harmless. It wears the face of opportunity. It speaks the language of solution. But underneath its polish, there are consequences you have not yet calculated. And by the time you feel their weight, the turning back will be far more expensive than the standing still. I can see what you cannot. I stand at a vantage point where every intersection in your life is visible at once, where the roads that split and curve and double back are all laid bare before me. I know which ones lead to the clearing, and which ones circle back into the same wilderness you fought so hard to leave. That is why my voice carries urgency today. Not panic. Urgency. because urgency is the sound love makes when time is short and the stakes are high. You are not weak. That lie has been playing on repeat in the chambers of your mind, and I am here to cut its power supply today. You are not forgotten. You have not been passed over or left to fend for yourself while others receive what should have been yours. The very fact that you are hearing me right now, that your spirit recognized this moment as something more than coincidence, tells me that the frequency between us is still clear. And as long as that frequency holds, I can lead you. The trouble I am warning you about is not something you deserve. Let me say that again so it settles deep enough to silence the voice that has been telling you otherwise. You did not earn the storm. It was not summoned by your mistakes or your shortcomings or the prayers you forgot to pray. It exists because the enemy of your purpose sees something valuable forming in you, and he wants to derail it before it reaches maturity. He cannot create, so he disrupts. He cannot build, so he scatters. And right now, he is positioning a disruption along your path that is designed to look like everything except what it actually is. But you have something he did not account for. You have this moment, this intervention, this very word that is reaching you before the trap can close. A warning that arrives before the fall is not tragedy. It is rescue. And rescue is exactly what I am offering you today. Pay attention to the people surrounding your daily life. Not everyone who walked beside you is walking in the same direction. There are individuals whose words carry warmth on the surface, but whose influence works like a slow undertow beneath it, pulling your decisions off course by such small degrees that you do not notice until the shore is far behind you. You have sensed this. Something in a conversation that did not sit right. A suggestion that seemed helpful but left a residue of unease in your chest. A pattern of interaction that always seems to end with you giving more than you receive and wondering why the exchange never quite balances. I am not telling you to become suspicious of every person who crosses your path. I am telling you to become discerning. There is an enormous difference. Suspicion closes every door indiscriminately. Discernment examines the threshold before stepping through. And right now you need discernment more than you have ever needed it, because the influence I am drawing your attention to is not obvious. It works through familiarity. It hides inside routine. And it has been adjusting your compass, heading by fractions so small that only heaven could measure the drift. If this word is already stirring something inside you, if you can feel the recognition settling over your spirit like a garment you forgot you own, then type Amen in the comments right now. Speak it as a declaration that your ears are open and your heart is ready to receive what heaven is releasing over your life today. This is not safety born from fear. Fear blinds the eyes and locks the joints and turns the bravest heart into a frozen thing. What I am giving you is safety born from awareness. Awareness keeps your eyes wide open. Awareness keeps your hands free. Awareness means you see the pit before your foot finds the edge. And seeing it is more than half the battle. Today, I am opening your eyes to what has been operating in the margins of your attention. You are not alone in this moment, even if you feel like the only person sitting with this particular weight on your chest. I am closer than the pulse in your wrist. I am nearer than the next breath forming in your lungs, and I will walk you through what is coming one deliberate step at a time, even when you cannot feel my presence. Every time you choose to listen instead of scroll, every time you decide to stay instead of rush, you are positioning yourself inside the fortress of my protection, instead of standing exposed in the open field where anything can reach you. If you pause when you hear my voice, the mechanism that was set in your path will lose its grip. Because traps rely on momentum. They depend on you moving too fast to notice the wire beneath the leaves. When you slow down at my instruction, the wire becomes visible. The trap becomes powerless, and you walk over it instead of into it. This is the power of obedience wrapped in patience. There is a shift that needs to happen inside you today, and it begins with a single adjustment. The transition from reacting to reflecting. You have been moving quickly. Your hands have been busy trying to repair what looks broken, and your feet have been running from the ache of uncertainty. I understand the pace. I know the pressure that drives it. But hear me now. Speed without direction will carry you farther from home than standing still ever could. A runner on the wrong road does not get closer to their destination by running faster. They get closer by stopping, listening, and allowing themselves to be redirected. Slow down. Let me show you the correct bearing before you spend another mile of energy on a heading that was never mine. This is how you maintain your forward motion without stumbling. This is how the snare loses its power before it can close. I am not here to remove your freedom. I am here to guard what your freedom was designed to build. Everything I say, even when it arrives wrapped in fire and carries the weight of command, originates from love so deep it will not be silent while danger gathers around someone I treasure. You are more significant than the world has told you. Your path carries more purpose than any critic or circumstance has been willing to acknowledge. That is precisely why I cannot stay quiet while something constructs itself in the margins of your peace. I speak because I love. I warn because I refuse to watch what belongs to heaven fall into the hands of something that has no right to touch it. Now listen, because what I am about to reveal cuts deeper than anything I have spoken so far. Your life has been running on a pattern, a cycle that returns wearing different clothing, but always carrying the same ending in its pocket. You recognize the rhythm, even if you have never named it. Things stabilize. Hope builds. The ground feels solid enough to trust. And then something tilts. The foundation you thought was firm begins to shift, and you find yourself standing in the rubble wondering how it happened again, picking up the same fragments, asking the same questions, carrying the same bruises in slightly different shapes. I am breaking that cycle right here. I am naming it before it can complete another rotation, because naming what operates in darkness is the first act of stripping its authority. You were never designed to walk the same circle of pain endlessly. You were built to rise above it with understanding that transforms how you move. When you understand differently, you act differently. When you act differently, your future changes. That is why I am being this direct with you today. There is a key that can unlock the prison this cycle has kept you turning in. And that key is the awareness I am placing in your hands right now. There is also something close to you, a relationship, or a habit, or a commitment, that has been quietly adjusting the way you make decisions. Not enough in a single day for you to notice, but enough across a year to redirect your entire trajectory. It may not appear dangerous. It may even bring you a measure of comfort. But beneath its familiar surface runs a current that will not carry you toward peace. Before you invest more of your time, your energy, your trust, step back and examine it from a wider angle. What feels good in the short term does not always serve you in the long season. I can see the entire field. You are being shown a single row. Let my vision guide your next step. A quiet pressure has been accumulating inside your chest. It feels like something needs to change, but you cannot identify what or how. That restlessness is not random noise generated by stress. It was sent to wake you up. You cannot walk the same street and arrive at a different city. I am letting your perception expand right now so you can turn while the turning is still painless. When you listen at this moment, you follow the lead of heaven. When you refuse, pain eventually becomes the teacher. Between those two instructors, choose the gentler one. I do not want you driven by consequence. I want you led by clarity. There will be hours ahead when distractions present themselves wearing the uniform of urgency. They will tug at your attention, insisting they require immediate response. But deep beneath their noise, you will hear a still voice, my voice, saying, pause. Think. Look again. You will not understand the full measure of harm that pause prevented until the season has passed and you can see the entire landscape from the other side. If you silence that voice, you will find yourself in places that drain your anointing and decisions that follow you into seasons they were never meant to enter. If you honor it, you will walk over traps you never even see. As the scripture declares, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. You are stronger than you believe. But strength without heaven's direction is a powerful horse without a rider. You have the endurance to outlast any storm. But I would rather you not spend that endurance on battles I never assigned to you. One moment of listening, one beat of patience, one deliberate refusal to rush can eliminate entire categories of trouble from your future. You do not have to walk into the storm to prove your strength. True strength bows its head and asks which direction to walk. That is the strength I am forging inside you today. Subscribe to this channel right now, because what I am building here is not a single message. It is an ongoing journey of protection and revelation that will continue to guard your steps as long as you stay connected. Every new word builds on the one before it, and missing a single chapter could mean missing the very instruction that your next season requires. Examine the door that has appeared before you. Its frame is shaped like opportunity. Its surface is painted with the colors of progress and relief and escape. But I am asking you to look beyond the paint before you cross its threshold. Not every door that stands open was opened by my hand. Some doors are tests. Some are elaborate traps dressed in the language of welcome. And the lessons carried by the wrong door leave scars you were never intended to bear. Wait. Do not judge the entrance by its appearance. Judge it by what it produces. When the right door opens, it will not leave a trail of confusion behind you. It will carry a stillness alongside it that brings clarity to every step you take beyond it. You have been crying out for direction. You have been asking for something clear, something definitive that proves you are not walking through this alone. This message is that answer, but it may not look the way you expected. Protection does not always wear the soft face of comfort. Sometimes it arrives as a sharp word that turns you away from something your heart had already started reaching toward. Clarity is not always gentle. It sometimes arrives fast and direct because it needs to reach you before your foot crosses the edge. I am giving you both right now, the gentle understanding and the sharp redirection. Receive them together, because safety requires accepting what I give you as it comes, not renegotiating the package to suit what feels easier. And take note of who is speaking. I am the one who split the waters when there was no visible path through them. I am the one who sealed the mouths of beasts that could have consumed my servants in a single breath. I am the one who walked my people through furnaces so intense that the fire itself bowed down and their garments came out without even the memory of smoke. I know everything about what is circling near your life. Nothing you carry in secret is hidden from the hand that planned your deliverance before the threat was even formed. You are held by the same power that held them. And if this word is reaching you, if your spirit is confirming what your mind is still processing, then speak it out loud right now. Type "I believe" in the comments, and let that declaration become a stake driven into the ground of your faith today. There is something you have been holding on to that is no longer helping you grow. You have not released it yet because you are accustomed to its presence. Because the thought of the emptiness it would leave behind makes you tighten your grip. It might be a connection. It might be a pattern of thinking. It might be a routine that once served you but has been quietly consuming you from the inside for months. Now that I have named it, you can set it down before it leads you somewhere worse. Letting go is not loss when it preserves your peace. It is the purest expression of strength. When the farmer prunes the branch, it is not punishment against the tree. He is making room for a harvest that the unpruned branch would have choked. There is no loss happening in your life right now. There is preparation. Trust that what you release creates space for what I am already sending. My word does not return to me empty, and neither will your obedience return to you fruitless. You are not being punished. You have not been singled out for hardship while others receive ease. What you are experiencing is positioning. I can see the terrain that lies ahead of your current step. And I care about you deeply enough to speak into your present so that your future remains stable. This is not about generating fear. This is about achieving alignment. When you walk in rhythm with my voice, you remain unshakable even when everything around you shifts and rearranges. That is the kind of stability I am building into you, the kind that does not require calm weather to function. A weight has been gathering on your shoulders, so gradually that you barely noticed it settling in. It is not heavy enough to stop you completely. It is just heavy enough to make you bend without realizing how far you have leaned. It disguises itself inside your reflexive reactions. It hides inside decisions made too quickly and responses fired without a second thought. These are the hairline fractures where disruption enters your life, not through catastrophic events, but through unexamined moments. Guard the small gates and the entire fortress remains secure. Listen to what stands beyond the altar of surrender. Before Abraham could even lift his eyes toward the mountain of sacrifice, the ram was already tangled in the thicket. The provision was positioned before the need became visible. The same is true for your life. What I have prepared for your next chapter is already staged and waiting for your arrival. It is not your job to manufacture the provision. Your job is to walk toward it with trust as your compass, knowing that every step you take in obedience brings you closer to what was planted there before you even thought to ask. Your intentions have been good. You have been trying to hold your world steady and do the right thing in the midst of pressure that would have bent most people past the point of recovery. But intention alone will not protect you if patience does not walk beside it. There are moments when your heart wants to sprint ahead faster than your understanding can manage, and those are precisely the moments when mistakes anchor themselves into your timeline. I am slowing you down, not to frustrate you, but to ensure your steps land on schedule. When you decelerate, your vision sharpens. When your vision sharpens, you avoid obstacles that would have caused wounds in later seasons that take years to heal. Someone in your inner circle carries a spirit that does not align with the direction I have plotted for your life. This does not make them evil. It makes them incompatible with your assignment. Their proximity is affecting your choices in increments so small that the deviation appears insignificant on any given day. But 1 degree of drift does not feel like much. Until 1,000 steps later, you find yourself in a completely different territory than the one I mapped for you. Allow yourself to observe. Be still. Protect the corridors of your heart, because from them flow the springs of your life. This is not rejection. This is stewardship of the course I have set before you. You have learned to be resilient and to carry your own weight through impossible terrain. That survival instinct got you through seasons that would have crushed lesser souls. But survival and abundance are two different countries, and the bridge between them is built from trust. You were never meant to solve every equation alone while I stand ready to calculate alongside you. If you trust me, you will wait before acting until you hear my direction. That pause is where clarity lives, and your peace is guarded by clarity. There is a decision approaching you that demands more attention than you are currently planning to give it. It appears simple, something you could resolve in an afternoon and move on. But I tell you now, do not rush it. This decision carries weight that extends beyond your own life and reaches into the lives of people you love. Approach it in stillness. Bring it to me in prayer before you bring it to the table. In that prayer, you will notice things you would have missed entirely if you had moved at your usual speed. Subtle details like markers on a trail that will guide you to the correct choice. The restlessness you have not been able to fully explain, that quiet ache running beneath the surface of your daily routines, is not confusion. It is a signal. It means something is shifting inside you and changes need to be made before the shift completes its cycle. Restlessness often appears when transformation is needed, but has not yet been initiated. Do not medicate it. Do not outrun it. Bring it to me and I will convert it into instruction. When you check in with your spirit early, you gain the advantage of seeing what is coming before it arrives. And you remain steady while others around you are caught off guard. Examine your habits as well. The things you do without conscious thought because they have become second nature. Some of them are building you stronger. Others are slowly constructing walls between you and my voice. I am not asking you to overhaul everything in a single day. I am asking you to become aware of what feeds your spirit and what feeds on your spirit. Awareness is the first mercy. Change is the second. When you consistently choose what strengthens you, you become unmovable. Now I must tell you this. Something is about to test you. Not in a way designed to shatter you, but in a way that will reveal how deeply you have been listening. A familiar choice will present itself wearing new clothing. A person or a situation you have encountered before but dressed in different colors. The last time it appeared, it cost you. This time, you will see it coming. And that recognition will be the clearest evidence of your growth. Not by avoiding every trial, but by making a different choice when the same trial returns. I am preparing you for that exact moment, right now. Word by careful word, brick by deliberate brick. When it arrives, you will feel the gravitational pull of the old response rising inside you, the old urgency, the old appetite, the old justification. But beneath that familiar wave, you will feel something new, something quieter, something more stable. The steadiness we have been constructing together in these hours of listening. Follow the steady voice. One new decision at the same crossroads will end a cycle that has been rotating for years. Not with dramatic noise, but with one careful step placed on solid ground. This is how chains break. Do not underestimate the power of staying close to me in small and ordinary ways. A whispered prayer in the middle of a crowded afternoon. A breath of gratitude before your feet touch the floor each morning. A moment of consulting me before you answer someone whose words carry hidden weight. These are not small gestures. These are course corrections, so fine they are almost invisible, but together they sharpen your hearing and steady your following beyond anything dramatic could produce. Transformation is not a single explosion. It is 1,000 quiet alignments, and you are already accumulating them. What has been unfolding between us in these moments is not ordinary. It is a sacred alignment between heaven and the soul that was brave enough to stay and listen. And I want you to know that this work, this mission of delivering these urgent words to hearts that need them most, continues only because faithful hands choose to carry it forward. If this message has reached you at exactly the right moment, if you can feel the precision of its timing in your spirit, then know that you have the opportunity to become part of the very thing that reached you. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you can join a community of believers who have chosen to stand together in prayer and purpose. Whether you are supporting this mission with a gift, joining as a member of our Ko-fi community, or simply adding your presence to the prayer wall where burdens are shared and lifted, you are planting a seed in ground that heaven is already watering. Every hand that reaches out in faith strengthens the bridge that carries these messages to someone who is sitting right now where you were sitting minutes ago, waiting for the word that would change everything. Give, and watch what God does with what you release. Now let me carry you deeper into what your spirit is ready to receive. There are layers to what I am showing you. and each day that you listen peels back another one. What sounds like general counsel at first becomes specific as your awareness sharpens. After a while, you begin to see how it touches the exact decision you have been weighing, the exact person you have been trusting, the exact direction you have been leaning toward. All of this is being revealed to you, not to generate anxiety, but to equip you for wise choices. When everything else seems uncertain, wisdom is the lamp that keeps your feet on solid ground. You have been standing at a quiet turning point this entire time, even if you did not call it that. From the outside, it may not look dramatic, but this is one of the most consequential seasons of your life, because the small adjustments you make right now will produce enormous results in the months and years ahead. You are not stuck. You are being positioned. Before the arrow can fly, the bow must be drawn backward. When you understand that, the waiting stops feeling like abandonment and starts feeling like purpose. Guard your thought life with everything you have, because not every thought that moves through your mind originated there. Some were planted by old wounds that healed on the surface, but never fully closed beneath the skin. Some were spoken over you by careless voices years ago, and embedded themselves so deeply that they feel like your own opinions about yourself. Others are dark suggestions from the adversary of your soul, engineered to sound like your own inner voice, so you accept them without examination. When you receive them without question, they begin to steer you. Slow down. Interrogate what you have been believing. Take every thought captive. There are conclusions you have been operating under that do not deserve your trust and were never meant to have your loyalty. Change what you allow in, and what you become will be safe. You were born with an instinct that registers when something is wrong before your rational mind can assemble the explanation. There were times in the past when you overruled that instinct, hoping you were mistaken, hoping things would resolve themselves without your intervention. Those are the moments where some of your deepest regrets were born. Now, I am sharpening that instinct to a precision that allows you to follow it without apology. When you encounter that hesitation, that inner resistance that tells you something is not right, even though your logic cannot yet articulate why, do not push through it for the sake of politeness or momentum. Stop. Ask. Listen. That pause is often my hand resting on your shoulder, quietly turning your face toward what your forward motion was about to miss. There is something in your proximity that appears stable from the outside, but is carrying enormous tension beneath its surface. You have picked up on the subtle signals, a shift in tone, an absence of warmth where warmth used to live, a silence that has replaced conversation in spaces that used to overflow with it. Do not rationalize these away. I am not asking you to become paranoid or frightened. I am asking you to be precise in your responses. What is caught early can be handled with grace. What is ignored compounds over time until the cost of addressing it becomes far greater than the discomfort of naming it today. Understand what real protection looks like. It is not the elimination of every obstacle from your path. It is my presence walking through the difficult places with you in a way that keeps you whole when lesser protection would have allowed you to be broken. There will be seasons that challenge you, but if you walk with awareness through those seasons, they do not dominate you. You respond instead of reacting. You consider instead of rushing. You transform from a target into a watchman on the wall, and that single shift changes everything about how the battle unfolds. Subscribe to this channel today and turn on notifications, because the next message in this series carries the continuation of what I am building in your spirit right now. Each word connects to the one before it and the one that follows, and the listener who stays connected receives the full blueprint that heaven is drafting for their protection. Still, a part of you wants to solve everything immediately. You want to outrun the uncertainty because the waiting hurts. I know that ache. I see it in you like heat rising from the pavement. But decisions made in haste are almost always the decisions that carry the longest regret. I am placing my hand over your impulse to move, not because I want you paralyzed, but because I need your eyes to catch up with your hands. Trust this process even when it generates discomfort. The momentary friction I create is worth the years of peace that follow on the other side. You have been carrying layers of responsibility without letting anyone see how much heavier they have become. You absorb the pressure because that is what you have always done. But when fatigue accumulates, you begin to miss things that matter. I need you to restore your attention before you miss something that cannot be recovered. You do not have to hold every burden yourself. Release the weight onto me. I do not fumble what I carry. And rest is not a failure of duty. It is the garment of trust. A soldier who never removes their armor eventually collapses inside it. The one who rests at my command returns to the wall with sharper eyes and steadier hands. Do not be afraid to draw boundaries, even when the drawing makes you uncomfortable. You have allowed certain things to continue because confronting them felt harder than enduring them. But they have been extracting your peace piece by piece. And each month the cost increases while the courage to address it decreases. Stand on what you know is right for your life. A boundary is not a wall that shuts people out. It is a fence around the garden I planted inside you. Maintain the fence, and the garden will feed everyone who enters through the gate I designated. There has been too much noise surrounding you for too long, voices competing for your attention, demands stacking on top of demands, a low hum of anxiety that never quite subsides, even in the hours that should bring rest. That noise obscures what matters most. It buries my guidance underneath a pile of things that will not matter in a year. I am asking you to create space for silence, even if it is imperfect, even if it lasts only minutes. In the storm and the earthquake and the fire, I did not speak to my prophet. I spoke in a still small voice, and he had to become quiet enough to hear it. The same is true for you. In the stillness, the clarity arrives, and as clarity produces decisions that are wiser than anything urgency could manufacture. This is not about withdrawing from your life or filling your hours with emptiness. It is about the governance of your attention. Attention is the doorway to the soul. Whatever you grant your attention to walks in. Secure the doorway, and everything inside remains protected. Conversations are approaching. Words are going to be spoken that carry more significance than their surface suggests. Pay attention, not only to what is said, but to how it registers inside you. Truth carries a weight you can feel in your chest. Do not dismiss something that rings hollow simply to maintain comfort. Comfort is not proof of truth, and discomfort is not proof of danger. In this particular moment, ask me to sharpen your perception, and I will not withhold it from you. Be careful with what you share and with whom you share it. Not every ear is safe for your dreams. You have been open in ways that left you exposed. Trusting hearts that did not know how to protect the tender things you placed inside them. When Joseph revealed his vision to his brothers, he found a pit waiting for him. Some of what I show you is meant to be held between us until its appointed time arrives. Silence, used wisely, is armor. Choose your confidants the way you would choose someone to carry a lit candle through a field of dry grass, carefully, deliberately, with full awareness of what is at stake. If your heart is stirred right now, type "I received this" in the comments. Let those words serve as the seal on what heaven is depositing into your spirit in this hour. Speak them as a person who is no longer passive in the face of divine instruction, but active, engaged, and fully positioned to receive. You hesitate too often, second-guessing what you clearly perceive. You question knowledge that I gave you directly, waiting for external confirmation that frequently does not arrive in time. That hesitation has caused you to pause at moments when you could have stepped away from harm or into blessing. I am strengthening your confidence right now. If you sense my leading, you do not need the complete map to know where the next step belongs. Trust is not built by studying the road from a distance. It is forged by walking it, one obedient step at a time. Protect your focus, because it is one of the most powerful instruments I placed inside you. Not every opportunity deserves your yes. Not every conflict requires your presence. Not every need you are capable of meeting is an assignment I gave you. Even my son withdrew to solitary places to pray when the crowds pressed too close. He did not heal every person in every village either. He moved where the Father directed. Nothing more, nothing less. Learn that rhythm. Your strength is always sufficient when you spend it, only where I tell you to. This is the season where awareness will serve you better than autopilot. It will feel unfamiliar at first, like writing with your non-dominant hand. You are accustomed to reacting, and I am training you to pray first and decide second. But as you practice, you will notice your responses becoming calmer, your choices becoming cleaner, your path becoming more stable. This is the renewing of your mind that I promised. It is not loud, it is granular. And once it takes root, it transforms everything. Something is going to surface in the days ahead that demands an immediate response. You will be pressured to make a choice before you have even drawn a full breath. Lean on what I have taught you in this hour. Not everything that presents itself as urgent is truly important, and not everything that is important rings an alarm. Pressure frequently disguises itself behind urgency to bypass your defenses and circumvent the discernment I have spent this entire message building inside you. Stand still when the push comes. If the matter is genuine, it will remain after the adrenaline fades and you will know it belongs to you. If it dissolves under the weight of patience, it was never yours to carry. The one who believes will not be in haste. Peace is not passive motion. Peace is sovereign control over every step you take. Fear must not be the architect of your future. Clear words and a covenant. Promise are meant to shape it. Every warning I have released over you today is a light, not a weapon. When you know what is coming and how to navigate it, the fear that once paralyzed you has no soil left to plant itself in. You are not being led deeper into darkness. You are being led out of it, one deliberate step at a time. And no one gets lost on the road I build. Think about how protection has already been operating around your life in ways you did not recognize. There were occasions when you arrived late and resented the delay, not knowing that the timing I arranged caused you to miss what was waiting ahead of you. There were requests you made that were denied, doors you knocked on that remained sealed, and some of those refusals protected you from grief you never had to taste. You have been spared in ways you will not fully understand until you hear my side of the account. Let that history comfort you as I ask you to move now. All of this unfolds on a calibrated timeline. Something is preparing to enter your life, and when it does, you will be ready instead of shocked. Readiness is the difference between panic and peace. Before the midnight shout, the wise ones filled their lamps. They did not scramble when the hour arrived. I am filling your lamp right now. Stay with me while the oil is still being poured. You are also learning to recognize my voice by its signature. When something truly originates from me, it carries peace even when the instructions are difficult. There is a subtle static that accompanies things that do not come from me, a tension that refuses to resolve no matter what you do. These are not moods. They are navigational signals. Trust them. Compare them against what I have spoken. They will keep you on course even when the visibility drops to near zero. Some people in your life will not understand the path you're walking. They may question your decisions, not from malice, but from a vantage point that is lower than the one I have given you. What they advise is shaped by what they can see. They cannot see what I have shown you. Do not hand them the pen that writes your instructions. When Noah built the ark, The people around him shook their heads and laughed, but the rain confirmed every board he nailed. Be humble as you hear counsel from others, but let my voice be the one that makes the final decision. If you hold to what I have spoken, you will remain standing even when every observer around you questions every choice you make. Think of at least 3 people right now who carry a heaviness they do not speak about. People who smile in public but cry in silence. People whose strength is real but whose weariness is hidden. This message was not meant to end with you alone. Send this to them today. Share it to your Facebook page or your church group chat. Forward it in a texting message to someone who needs to hear that they are not forgotten. When heaven gives you a word that carries protection, it multiplies when you pass it to another hand. You are not just a listener, you are a carrier. And carriers have a responsibility to deliver what they have received. You are learning to trust a part of yourself that does not require constant external validation. That trust deepens every time you return to listen. Every time you choose this space over the noise that competes for your attention. As it matures, you will move through uncertain seasons with a quiet confidence that does not need applause or witnesses or approval. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. It simply keeps walking in the direction I pointed. And that is enough. Something is approaching that will require you to respond with clarity instead of emotion. In earlier seasons, you would have answered from the wound, letting the feeling ignite before the thought could fully form. This time, there will be a new sensation between the spark and the flame. A pause. Enough room to breathe. Enough space to pray. Enough distance to choose, rather than merely react. I am installing that pause inside you right now, and it will save you from converting a small friction into a prolonged war. The one who rules their own spirit is mightier than the one who captures an entire city. You have been carrying anxieties that you have never fully articulated, questions that circle your mind during the day and refuse to set down their weight, even when night arrives. Name them to me out loud. I am bringing them to your attention, not to amplify them, but so you can confront them with understanding instead of dread. A worry that is named in prayer is already half the size it was before you spoke it. You do not have to resolve everything in this hour, but you must not hide it from the one who already knows. Consider the field that the farmer deliberately leaves fallow for a season. An impatient observer might call it abandoned, wasted, going nowhere. But beneath the surface, the soil is being restored. Nutrients are rebuilding, minerals are returning, so that the next planting yields double what the exhausted ground could have produced. Some parts of your life that appear dormant right now are fallow fields resting under my command. There is no waste happening. Do not despise the resting season, and do not plant in ground that is not ready. The harvest belongs to the one who respects the timing. Consider the river. It does not argue with the mountain in its path. It flows around, it carves beneath, it finds the lowest and most patient route through the resistance. And, over 100 years, it has shaped a canyon that no hammer could have reached. You do not have to be violent to be persistent. You do not have to be loud to be victorious. Gentle and steady flow in the direction I have established, and not a single drop of effort will be wasted. What opposes you today will become the banks that shape your river tomorrow. Something or someone will attempt to pull you back into a pattern you have already survived. It will arrive wearing familiar clothing and speaking familiar words. It will whisper that this time will be different. But it carries the same conclusion folded inside its pocket. I am showing you this in advance, so that you recognize it before regret has a chance to register. When it appears, step onto the new ground we have built together in this hour. A firm no spoken at the right moment will close a door that has been swinging open for years. You will feel the draft stop. You will feel the cycle end. And you will know that the strength it took to speak that single word was worth every second of the waiting that preceded it. You are developing quiet discernment, the capacity to observe without immediately reacting. This is an extraordinary ability. The one who watches first understands. The one who understands acts in a way that preserves peace rather than destroying it in the name of speed. You do not need to prove yourself through how quickly you move anymore. Let others call your stillness hesitation if they wish. Standing still while listening to heaven moves faster than running while listening to fear. Small tests are approaching, not storms. Simple choices that carry more significance than their size would suggest. A word you might speak but choose to withhold. An offense you could absorb and leave at the side of the road. A shortcut you could take without anyone noticing. At these small intersections, your growth becomes visible. The one who is faithful with small things is trusted with great ones. When the small tests are passed, the larger doors open by themselves. A foundation is being built inside you right now, below the surface where no one applauds. Builders spend months digging into ground that spectators have no interest in watching. Before anything rises above the earth, it looks like nothing is happening. But every stone buried in the foundation determines how high the walls can safely rise. I am building you deep because I intend to build you high. Do not resent the underground season. Towers constructed on shallow foundations collapsed in the first wind. I never built you to fall. And now, I speak my final decree over your life. Go into the rest of this day covered. Not driven, but LED. Awake, but not anxious. Alert, but not afraid. I have gone ahead of every single step that lies before you. At morning, I am there. At noon, when the noise is highest and the choices press in from every side, I am there. At night, when the questions have exhausted themselves and silence returns, I am there. I am not absent from any hour that belongs to you. Every step you take from this moment forward has already been walked by me first. This is not a promise reserved for the strong. It is a promise extended to the willing. And, by listening to the very end, you have shown me you are ready. Remember the road through the wilderness. My people walked it between the chains they left behind and the promise they were walking toward. The act of walking fulfilled the requirement of the covenant. They learned about my daily provision, my pillar of fire, my faithfulness at dawn after dawn in a desert that offered nothing of its own. If your stretch feels dry right now, it is not because you are lost. It is because certain truths can only be absorbed when there are no other distractions available to compete with them. You are closer to the edge of this desert than you imagine. Now is not the time to sit down in the sand. Hold everything you have received today. The warning that sharpened your awareness. The pause that protects your decisions. The wisdom that sorts what reaches your heart. The boundaries that preserve your garden. The silence that lets you hear me. These are not scattered lessons. They are pieces of a single armor that you have been putting on one section at a time throughout this hour. Wear it all. A soldier who leaves one strap unfastened gives the arrow a place to enter. And when the test arrives, remember this feeling. Remember how steady you are right now. You will not have to manufacture courage from nothing. Courage is simply remembering my faithfulness in the moment it was most real to you. If this message reached the deepest part of you today, send it right now to at least 2 people who need Heaven's shield over their life. Share it in your WhatsApp group, or text it to someone who has been fighting alone in silence. What protected you is meant to protect them through your hands. As this awakening grows inside you, know that supporting this mission is not a transaction, it is a partnership with heaven. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you can join our Ko-Fi community, contribute a gift of any size, or become a member who stands alongside this work every month. Every seed planted here becomes oil for someone else's lamp, fire for their calling, and a hedge of protection over their family. What God has prepared for your life is unlocked through the faith that gives without calculating the return. Come into this circle. Add your name to the wall of prayer, and watch what heaven multiplies from what you placed in its hands. Now subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so that the next word I release finds you ready. Because what I am building in your spirit is not finished, and the next chapter carries weight you will want to be prepared for. Father, I bring this soul before your throne, wrapped in every word that was spoken over them today. Seal what was planted. Guard what was awakened. Let no weapon formed against the one who listened prosper, and let no scheme designed in darkness survive the light you have poured into this hour. Walk with them when they rise. Steady them when they stumble. Speak when they need direction and hold them when they need rest. Cover their household, their health, their purpose, and every person they carry in their prayers. In the mighty name that is above every name, the name that silences storms and opens sealed doors and calls dead things back to life, I declare it finished. Amen.